Thank you so much for watching my YouTube channel. We're continuing our series on navigating change. This week, we're looking at Paul. Last week we did Peter, now we're going to do Paul. We first read about Paul basically in Acts chapter 7 as well as chapter 9. And Paul navigates some interesting changes in his life. We read about him on the Damascus Road. When he was persecuting followers of Jesus, he has this really phenomenal encounter, falls on the ground, and experiences genuine Jesus. That totally changes everything. Kind of like Peter. Last week we read and heard about Peter meeting Jesus at fishing. And Jesus says, follow me, I'll make you a fisherman. Holy Spirit interrupts Paul's life. And Jesus comes real to Paul on the Damascus Road. And he decides to leave persecution and persecuting Jesus' followers to now promoting Jesus. It's a total shift. But I like too with Paul, if you read about him, he was highly educated, a sharp contrast to Peter. Very educated, knew all the Jewish Torah, all the traditions, all the upbringing, knew the whole thing. But once he had that experience with Jesus, then it framed life, framed scriptures, framed his theology in a brand new way. And I think it's important for us to be flexible in our theology to make sure that it lines up with the Bible and lines up with what God says. Sometimes I think we have tradition and our ideas and human upbringing and that kind of stuff in mind, and it doesn't necessarily run parallel. It runs contrary to what God says in genuine love. And we have to be willing to let God change, be flexible with our theology, that it's got to stay grounded and anchored in Bible, in genuine love. But not only that, Paul grows and learns and begins to see the Bible in a brand new way in the context of Jesus. So he moves from, being a leader in the Jewish synagogue and all that stuff, and now he becomes a promoter of Jesus, and he starts to do missions work. And what I like about Paul is, according to his DNA, according to his divine blueprint, Paul acts and is consistent with his blueprint. So instead of persecuting Jesus, now he promotes Jesus, and he knows the scriptures, so he goes around and starts to basically plant churches. And he does this not only in what we know as Asia, modern day Asia like Turkey, but then God speaks to him and he has this vision, and he hops over to what we know as modern day Greece and starts to plant churches in what we know today in Europe, the beginning of Europe. And so it's really cool to watch Paul being flexible, from persecuting now to promoting, and then from promoting to propagating, right? Like to multiply the message of Jesus. But he gets thrown in prison. So these are change points on the road to Damascus. And then he does this change into the missionary work. Then from the missionary work, he gets thrown into prison. And when he gets thrown into prison, he doesn't quit. He doesn't quit promoting Jesus. He just does it in a different way. He promotes Jesus to all of his co-prisoners, promotes Jesus to the judges who are trying him, and he also moves into what I would call more of a writing season, where he wrote, we call epistles. Now, granted, he wrote epistles before he went into prison, but he took that time and said, well, let's maximize it. Whatever I can do to make Jesus famous and popular, I'm going to let my life be his platform. And so I want to encourage you today that no matter what the seasons do and change and all those things, let's make our life about promoting Jesus, that our life is a platform, a springboard, that Jesus, genuine Jesus, not the human, theological, like super prunish, unloving, legalistic, but genuine Jesus. Let's make our life about promoting genuine Jesus, no matter what the changes are that we go through. Job changes, family changes, emotional changes, all kinds of stuff. Maybe even geographical changes. We move to a different city. Whatever it is, let's make it our consistent passion to promote Jesus. So thanks again for watching. Would love to get some feedback. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Subscribe would be fantastic. And clearly I know why you're watching. One of the core values, not quite, of this channel is we finish with a joke. So here is your joke. Why did the teddy bear say no to dessert? Because he was stuffed. See, that's so cute. I know, you really like it. It's very friendly and fun. I know, kind of lame too. So we'll catch you next week as we finish our series on navigating change.